Hello dear students, welcome once again to online video lectures. This video is based on wildlife conservation. It is for standard 9th. Let us see what is the exact meaning of wildlife conservation. According to WLPA, that is Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, wildlife includes all the animals, bees, butterfly, crustaceans, fish and moth, and aquatic or land vegetation which forms part of any habitat. Means all the animals and vegetations which are non-domesticated, they all are included in the wildlife. Means all those things which are not domestic, they come under the wildlife. So therefore wildlife refers to every organism, the flora and the fauna, in their natural habitat. Examples are lion, deer, crocodiles, whales, trees, shrubs in dense forest, etc. The benefits of the wildlife are they are very essential component because they keep balance in the food chains, in the food webs, different biochemical cycles, and in the flow of energy of various trophic levels. They also help us to preserve the vitality of and health of the environment to provide stability to various ecosystems. There are many threats to wildlife. The first is habitat loss. Many animals are losing their habitat, they don't have the proper place to live. So they are seen in the human habitat, which is not good for the wild animals also and for the human beings also. The reason behind habitat loss is the population growth, fast industrialization, urbanization, and modernization. They all have contributed to a very large scale in the destruction of the natural habitat of plants and animals, especially the wild animals. We are destroying the forest and making the forest area less and less, which is making the wild animals to travel in the human habitation, causing damage to themselves also and to the human beings also. Second thing is indiscriminate hunting. People are fond of hunting and they indiscriminate killing and poaching of wild animals for the food, for their horns, their fur, means the hair on the body, the tusk which is found in the elephants, etc. It has resulted in reduction and even extinctions of many wild species. Many native species are known to have disappeared of their existence, and some are under threat because of the introduction of exotic and alien species. It means that the species which were naturally available, they are getting extinct, and in the place new species are coming which are alien. Means they are not earthy earthy lifestyles. They are seen they are developing themselves, and from where they are coming we don't know, but they are taking the places of the old and vulnerables. Let us see next. The threats which add to the wildlife is pollution. It could be a pollution of air, water, soil, and noise pollution also, of the magnitude and toxicity which has been never seen. It is getting more and more with the passage of time. In the olden days the pollution was very less and it was a very good environment for the wild animals to live upon, but nowadays the pollution is getting worse and worse. It is causing them many type of diseases, especially for the birds. They are not able to fly in the natural environment and they get many type of diseases and they are dying before their natural age. Natural habitats have been destroyed or damaged by the activities such as indiscriminate use of synthetic material, release of radiations, oil spills in the sea, generation of effluents and waste of various kind which are very toxic, and disposing many things in unscientific way also has destroyed the natural habitats of the wild animals, which has resulted to a threat to wildlife. Let us see the wildlife conservation's importance. The first thing is they will enhance the beauty of the earth. we all like earth to stay green and clean. So the beauty of the earth is to stay in clean and green, but we are destroying the earth and we are reducing the beauty of our mother nature. We are destroying the earth for the economic values because the timber, the fur, the tusk, ivory, leather, honey, etc. are being traded for economical use, and we are destroying the natural habitat of the forest. The scientific value, it means the gene pool for the scientist to carry out the breeding programmers in agriculture, animal husbandry, and fishery. The scientists are looking for the various means to develop new breeds by crossbreeding the agricultural plants, the animals, and the fishes. So, if we are going to destroy these natural habitats of the animals, fishes, and agriculture, we will not be able to develop new breeds. Forests also help in maintaining the ecological balance, and it develops ecotourism also. Now, what are the causes of wildlife destruction? The first loss is the habitat loss. Because we are cutting the forest, the habitat for the wildlife is getting lesser and lesser. We are also destroying the rainforest, which are the main habitats of the wild animals. The tropical rainforests are cleared for wood and for the timber resources, for the development of the petroleum resources, mineral resources. So, in this way, we are destroying the forest areas, we are making it less and less, and the place is getting lesser and lesser for the wild animals. The second most critical factor is species extinction. Many species which were found in large number in the olden days have got extinct or endangered at present, and government has been trying to save this type of species, but still they have unsuccessful in making the safe environment for those species. Now there are only 20% less forest cover than which existed about 300 years ago. What are the causes for the destruction of wildlife? First one is poaching and hunting. Poaching means taking the, like we can see in the picture, the rhinoceros is being hunted for his horns. The horn is removed and the animal is left behind. This is called as poaching. And hunting means to killing the animals for the economical purpose. These are the major cause for the animal species extinction. Poaching is an illegal trade in animals are of about 10 to 15 million dollars per year in the whole world. National and international wildlife trade for the pet, for the fur, meat, body parts trade, and the trade for biochemical research are the causes for the destruction of the wildlife. Sometimes the global warming and the climate change due to pollution and introduced species, and the shooting done by ranchers and the farmers, they also destroy the wildlife. And what will be the effect of the wildlife depletion? There will be imbalance in the food chain and the ecosystem. The animals which are found very rare will be reduced and will extinct after some days. There will be a bad impact on the biodiversity. The economic value of the wildlife will be lost or will be reduced. It will also cause danger to the human life, and we will be losing our genetic information. Let us see the animals which are endangered. The majestic elephants are getting endangered, the Indian bison, the his-breed hare, the swamp deer, blue whale, desert cat, leaf monkey, and snow leopard. The number of these animals are getting lesser and lesser by the passage of the day, and we think after some days these animals will get extinct. The endangered species of plant, the baobab plant, berberis, Decalephis hamiltoni, Cycas bedomi, and red sandalwood. These plants, they are found in very less numbers, and we should take care of these plants so that they can survive. Otherwise, these species are endangered and they will extinct in a very short period of time. There have been many legal framework done for the conservation of wildlife, especially in India. the people which are living in India under the impression that India does not have strong wildlife conservation law. The people of other countries, they have been complaining since long that Indian government are not making strict laws. On the contrary, we have some of the most stringent legislations to protect wildlife and habitats. Our government has introduced various types of legislation in response to the growing destruction of wildlife and forest. Some examples are given here. The WLPA Act 1972, which was amended in 2006, National Wildlife Action Plan, which commenced in 2002 and ended in 2016, the Environment Protection Act from 1986, the Biological Diversity Act from 2002, the Indian Fisheries Act 1897, the Indian Forest Act 1927, the Forest Conservation Act 1980. So we can say government has made their work, they have done their part, they have made many acts in order to safeguard the species which are getting endangered and which are in the verge of extinction. Government has done their part, and it is now our duty to safeguard these species which are endangered. We should protect the fauna and flora so that the species remain alive for a long period of time and give us the benefits. The Wildlife Protection Act 1972, it is a very important statute that provides a powerful legal framework for prohibition of hunting, for the protection and management of wildlife habitats, establishment of protected areas, regulation and control of trade in parts and product derived from wildlife, and maintaining the zoos. It also provides for several categories of protected areas and reserves like national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, tiger reserves, conservation reserves, community reserves. And apart from the protected areas establishment, other important aspects of Wildlife Protection Act includes procedures for the appointment of state wildlife authorities and wildlife boards, the regulation of trade in wildlife products, and the prevention, detection and punishment of the violation of the WLPA. So WLPA has given prohibition of many things like hunting and destroying the habitats of the animals. They have protected the areas by making national parks, wildlife sanctuaries and reserves. By doing this, the government is trying to increase the number of the animals, especially the wild animals and the wild species which are in the verge of extinction. Let us see the location of national parks in India. These are the name of the main national parks which are located in India. A national park is a protected area of land in which a typical ecosystem with all its wild plants and animals are protected and preserved in their own natural surrounding. As of April 2017, there were 103 national parks comprising a total area of 40,500 square kilometers. The Jim Corbett National Park in Uttarakhand, which was established in 1936, was the first national park in India. So you can take the screenshot of this table, and it will be very useful to you if you can remember the name of the national parks and the state and the animals which are protected there. There has been a word written after the name of the animals. EN stands for endangered animals, CR stands for critically endangered, and VU stands for vulnerable. Then we can also see the wildlife sanctuary. A sanctuary is a protected area of land or the wetland or this reserved sea for the conservation of wild animals, birds and plants. As of April 2017, India has nearly 543 wildlife sanctuaries comprising a total area of 1,18,918 square kilometers. In these sanctuaries, hunting of any kind is prohibited. Private ownership rights over sanctuaries and limited human activities may be granted or provided if they do not interfere with the normal activities like feeding, nesting and breeding of wildlife. So you should also keep a note of these names of these bird sanctuaries and the wildlife sanctuaries, the name of their states and the animals which are mainly protected here. Then we will see the biosphere reserves. Let us see the definition of the biosphere reserves. Biosphere reserves are a specific category of protected area of land wherein tribal peoples are the native to these areas and they are the integral part of the system. Means the people which are living nearby, they will be responsible for the protection of the biosphere reserves. The concept was given by United Nations, which was launched in 1975 as the part of UNESCO's Mans and Biosphere program. In biosphere, various uses of land are permitted by dividing it into three zones, that is core zone, buffer zone, and transition zone. You can see the names of these reserves and the name of the states and the animals which are protected here are given. You can make a note of this. Let us see the National Wildlife Action Plan, which was started in 2002 and ended in 2016. Replaces the earlier plan adopted in 1983. It was introduced in response to the need for a change in priorities given to the increased commercial use of natural resources, which continued the growth of human and livestock population and changes in the consumption pattern. So this plan was brought, which replaced the previous plan which was adopted in 1983. That plan was closed and this National Wildlife Action Plan was introduced so that we can increase the number of wildlife and the wildlife reserves. The plan mostly represents an actual policy on protection of wildlife. It focuses on strengthening and enhancing the protected area network, on the conservation of endangered wildlife and their habitats, on controlling trade in wildlife products, and on research, education, and training. It also includes two protected areas, that is conservation reserves and community reserves. It recommends the address to the need of local communities which are living near the protected areas. They should see the outlines and need for the voluntary relocation. The plan also recognizes the need to reduce human wildlife conflict and emphasize the establishment and effective compensation mechanism. If we go through these 4 points, we'll come to know that this plan was specially made to protect the wildlife. So in this chapter we came to know about the biosphere reserves, the wildlife sanctuaries, the national parks, and the Wildlife Protection Act, which was started in 1972, and what other laws have been implemented by the government in order to conserve the wildlife in India. We also came to know about the endangered species of the plants and the animals. What were the effect of wildlife depletion? What are the causes of wildlife destruction? What are the causes of wildlife destruction? And what is the importance of wildlife conservation? What are the threats to wildlife and the reason for the habitat loss and other things also. We also learned the exact meaning of the conservation. So that's all in this video. We'll cover the next part in the next video. Till then, keep learning and go through your books for detailed study. Thank you for now.